Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings of Maryland. Good to have you here, Elijah. I know you've been out in the streets and it hasn't been easy. Michael Steele has been hoping to get in on the conversation, so Michael, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you, Mika. Hey, Congressman, good to see you.
Good morning.
You know, I really appreciate your presence and your words on the streets last night and over the last few days. And I want to sort of follow up on what we were just talking about. What actions are you prepared to take now in the wake of all that has happened here, working with the state and delegate, the Senate and delegate members who represent those affected areas of Baltimore, to reprioritize resources so that that area can now begin its own renaissance beyond the ashes of the last 2 days? What actions are you prepared to take now to help this leadership in Baltimore move this city forward?
Well, first of all, it's good to be with you all. And, Mike, the first thing we need to do, and I've said this before, is put a mirror up to ourselves and make sure we're listening to our children. We need more or less a conclusion revolution. It's so important. And, you know, I think the first thing that we'll do is try to figure out how to make sure that the limited resources that we do have are spent in a way that are most meaningful to our city and to our young people. I think with Barnacle, who said that the major thing that concerns most communities of this nature are jobs. Jobs are very, very important. But you know what, Mike? You start with something before that, and that's education. So many of these children and young people feel starved of a good education. And I'm just basing that on what I have heard over and over and over again. And many of them feel to some degree that like as if they're crippled. So I think we need to work with our new superintendent. He's only been on the job a few months. And then we've got to sit down and figure out how do we make sure that these children are properly educated so that they can get the jobs when they come here. One of the first things I did, by the way, yesterday was I called CVS drugs, and I called Rite Aid. I called 7-Eleven, stores that were affected the other night and harmed, and said to those CEOs, we will work very hard to make sure that we get you the kind of resources you need, and we will protect your businesses. Why? Because I want to make sure that we have jobs, but we're also going to concentrate on education. So that's what I'm going to do, and we're going to continue to press on the national level to try to make sure that people understand when cuts are made to on the federal level, they affect communities like ours.
Hey, Congressman, I need you to educate me now. I want to ask you a question about a train ride. And the train ride goes from Washington, D.C. to New York City, and it goes right through Baltimore. Right. And I'm looking out the window of that train when it stops in Baltimore, and it's May 1968. And I'm looking out the window of that train, and it's May 2015. Why am I looking at the same burnt-out blocks, the same busted buildings, the same sense of hopelessness on that right side of the train 50, 40 years later? Why am I doing that?
Well, you see, first of all, you see only a part of Baltimore, and I'm concerned about that, too. It takes money to, first of all, a lot of people left the city. They're now coming back, but they left the city. A lot of landlords, by the way, those vacant houses you see, because of, in large part, Maryland has strict lead paint laws. A lot of the landlords, people that own those houses, abandon them. And then it takes a lot of money, my friend, to demolish those houses. But we're going to come back. But because there are other parts of the city, unfortunately, that you don't see on that train ride. I've done that train ride many times. And we've got to be about the business of trying to get the resources to do those things. Somebody said it earlier on your show. While the recession, everybody believes the recession is over, the fact still remains is that there are a lot of folks who are being left behind.
Well, and Congressman Elijah Cummings, thank you very much.
Thank you, Elijah. We really appreciate you being here and appreciate you.